We usually think of AI as something that analyzes data. But what if it could create it? What if an AI could be an artist? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. A fascinating technology built on rivalry and deception that can generate incredibly realistic images, music, you name it, completely from scratch. Okay, so take a look at these two faces. They look totally real, right? You'd probably think you could meet them on the street. But here's the wild part. You can't. These people have never existed. They were completely imagined by a powerful type of AI called a generative adversarial network, or JustGAN for short. So you've got to be wondering, how in the world does a machine just dream up a face it's never seen? Well, the answer is this brilliant and actually kind of competitive idea right at the heart of how these networks learn. To get it, we need to break down the name itself. Generative is pretty straightforward. It creates things. Adversarial, though, that's the key. It means its different parts are literally working against each other. And believe it or not, that conflict is the secret sauce to its creative power. So a GAN isn't just one AI. It's actually two of them, locked in this constant contest. And that whole setup is what lets them go way beyond just recognizing patterns in photos. They learn the very essence of what makes something look real, so they can create brand new examples that are completely convincing. Now this is where it gets really fun. How does this contest actually work? The best way to think about it is like a creative rivalry, a high-stakes game of cat and mouse being played between two different AIs. The whole system is basically a two-player game. In one corner, you've got the generator. Think of it as a master art forger. Its only job is to create fakes so good they're indistinguishable from the real thing. And in the other corner, you have the discriminator, who is like an expert art critic. Its entire purpose in life is to tell the difference between a real masterpiece and the generator's forgeries. And this whole thing just repeats over and over again in this relentless loop. The forger makes a fake, the critic judges it, and then they both get feedback. If the forger fools the critic, it gets rewarded. If the critic catches the fake, it gets rewarded. So with every single round, the forger gets better at lying, and the critic gets better at spotting the lie. They force each other to become absolute experts. So that's the story. But how does this battle actually work under the hood? Well, it's all based on something from game theory called a mini-max game. It's basically the mathematical rulebook for this whole adversarial contest. Let's stick with our analogy. The discriminator, our art critic, has one simple goal: to maximize its chances of being right. It wants to look at a real piece and confidently say real, and look at a forgery and immediately call it fake. Its entire strategy is built around getting better and better at this one job. And our art forger, the generator, has the exact opposite goal. It wants to minimize the critic's success rate. It's constantly tweaking its forgeries to be so convincing that it forces the critic to mess up. In this game, the forger only wins when the critic loses. So what's the end game here? It's something called a Nash equilibrium. And that's the point of perfect balance, where the generator is making fakes that are so flawless, the expert critic is basically just guessing. It's only right about 50% of the time. When that happens, the generator has become so good, it has truly learned the essence of the real thing. Now, the original GANs back in 2014, they were a brilliant idea, a great proof of concept, but they were a nightmare to train, super unstable. Since then, though, the field has just exploded with breakthroughs that make them way more powerful and reliable. You can really see the evolution here. It all kicks off in 2014 with the big idea. Then in 2015, DC GANs come along and make them much more stable for images. But 2017 was a huge leap. Conditional GANs gave us control, the ability to tell the AI what to make, and then things like style GANs just took the quality to a whole other level, giving us those hyper-realistic images we saw at the beginning. So what this really means is that we went from just getting a random but plausible image to being able to actually steer the AI. We could give it a condition, a label, or even a sentence, like a cat with blue eyes, and the network would actually try to generate an image to match. It gave us real creative control. Okay, enough theory. Why does any of this matter? Well, let's get to the really cool part. The incredible, sometimes kind of mind-bending things this technology is already doing out there in the real world. I mean, the applications are all over the place. You've got creative tools that can turn a simple sketch into a realistic photo. They can upscale old blurry pictures with amazing clarity. And get this, in the world of AI itself, They can generate brand new training data to help other AIs learn faster, especially when real data is hard to come by. It's a huge deal. And this really gets to why GANs are so good at things like photo enhancement. See, older methods might just kind of blur the pixels together, guessing at an average solution. But a GAN has seen thousands of real photos. It's learned what a natural image is supposed to look like, so it doesn't find an average, it finds a single, sharp solution that just looks real. So, let's bring this all together. Let's look at the big takeaways and think about what this means for the future. Because honestly, the implications here go way beyond just making cool pictures. So what's the bottom line? At its core, this amazing technology is built on a really simple idea: competition. You have a forger and a critic locked in a game, constantly pushing each other to get better. And it's that adversarial process that lets an AI go from just recognizing data to actually creating it. And as the tech gets better, that creative power is only going to get more precise. And that leads us to this final, pretty heavy question. This isn't just a technical marvel, right? It raises these huge questions about creativity, about authenticity, and really about our own perception of truth. As AI gets better and better at generating a flawless, fake reality, the challenge for us of telling what's real from what's not, well, that's only going to get harder. It's something we're all going to have to think about.